All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. We're taking Annie Duke's groundbreaking concepts on decision-making and applying them directly to, well, surviving and thriving in the financial markets. Look, if you've ever felt like the market is wildly unpredictable and completely out of your control, this analysis of the source material is exactly what you need to totally change your trading psychology. So, has this ever happened to you? You execute a flawless trade based on perfect technicals. I mean, everything lines up perfectly. And then, out of nowhere, a sudden news event, like a surprise political tweet, reverses the market completely. You're just sitting there, staring at a red screen, wondering if you're actually just a terrible trader. But the truth is, your decision might have been completely right. To fix this psychological trap, we're going to unpack 5 core concepts from our source material: the chess versus poker analogy, the resulting fallacy, thinking in bets, finding an accountability group, and risk management in uncertainty. Let's get right into it.
Starting with Section 1, Chess versus Poker, and Embracing Hidden Information.
You know, we often treat trading like it's a game of chess. We think there are predictable, exact rules and perfect information, and that if we're just smart enough, we can achieve 100% certainty. But in reality, the markets operate exactly like poker. There is always hidden information. Constant uncertainty is literally the only guarantee here, because you never actually know what cards the macroeconomic environment is holding.
Moving to Section 2, the resulting fallacy and decisions. Basically, don't judge by the outcome. Now that we know we're playing poker, let's look at the biggest cognitive trap traders fall into. Think about this for a second. Does profiting actually mean you made a good decision? Picture an absolute beginner opening a trading platform for the very first time. They blindly click buy without looking at a single chart, and they make a massive profit. Does that lucky win make them a trading genius? No way. Absolutely not. And this perfectly illustrates what we call the resulting fallacy. That's when you judge the quality of a decision based exclusively on its outcome, rather than the logical process you used to make it. Look, if your process was rock solid, but some random, unpredictable news event ruined the trade, your decision wasn't wrong. You just experienced bad variance. If you tweak your whole strategy every single time you hit bad variance, you're going to be stuck in a permanent loop of losing.
Which brings us to Section 3, thinking in bets and confirmation bias, or calculating your convictions. To combat this resulting fallacy, we really have to adapt a totally new framework. Let's visualize this with a pretty simple scenario from the source material. Imagine gold is showing incredibly strong bullish signals. You've done all the work: fundamentals, technicals, market sentiment. Everything aligns perfectly, so you decide to open a buy position, feeling 100% confident it's going up. But here's the thing. Thinking in bets means realizing that even with that perfect setup, you might realistically only have a 60% probability of success. That leaves a massive 40% probability of failure. So if that 40% reality actually hits, you didn't necessarily make a bad choice. You just hit the statistical downside. Fully accepting this, it completely removes the anger and frustration from a losing trade. But, well, our ego aggressively gets in the way through confirmation bias. That's our tendency to search for information that just confirms what we already believe. So once we enter that gold trade, we stubbornly scour the news, right? Reading only the articles that prove our 60% theory is correct and completely ignoring all the data suggesting we might be in that 40% failure bracket. The source material gives us some really fantastic, actionable steps to fight this bias. First, you have to stop assuming your analysis is the absolute truth. Treat it as just a mere hypothesis. Second, actively hunt for reasons your trade might be wrong. Literally ask yourself, what data would prove me wrong right now? And third, set invalidation triggers. Like if the New York session opens and volume completely shifts against you, you have to accept the hypothesis is invalidated, and you adapt. All right, Section 4, accountability group and finding your healthy peers. It's incredibly hard to challenge your own biases completely alone. We all have a blind spot when it comes to our own money. So you need a healthy accountability group to keep you grounded. And keep it small, just 1 or 2 trusted, objective peers. You have to eliminate ego and competition entirely. You aren't there to brag. You're there to analyze the process together, not just the profits. You really need someone objective to tell you if a winning trade was actually a good decision, or if you were just saved by pure dumb luck. Because remember, the goal of an accountability partner is to improve the decision-making process, not to point out flaws or undermine confidence. This kind of peer review isn't about destroying your confidence with toxic, negative energy. It's really about holding a mirror up to your process so you don't repeat lucky, reckless mistakes that will absolutely blow up your account when that luck eventually runs out. And that leads us to Section 5, Risk Management in Uncertainty, or Surviving the Unknown. This is the final actionable pillar of our explainer, how we physically and financially protect ourselves from the constant unknown of the poker game. The source delivers a pretty harsh truth here that honestly every trader needs to hear. Quote, trading with a tiny account under $1,000 without a system, you're better off just taking your family out to dinner instead. Look, if you're trading without stop losses or with severely undercapitalized accounts just to test the waters, you aren't trading, you're gambling. And the psychological pressure of a tiny, unprotected account, it will force you into making terrible decisions for sure. Think about it. If your strategy is just going full margin with no stop loss, your long-term outcome is a blown account and zero capital. It's literally just a matter of time. But with calculated sizing and a strict stop loss, your capital is protected. The real takeaway here is that a strict stop loss is not a punishment. It's a protective shield. It ensures that when that 40% failure probability does hit, your account actually survives to trade another day. So let's just recap this ultimate survival guide to becoming a process-oriented trader. First, accept that markets are poker, not chess. Never judge a decision solely by its outcome. Treat every single trade as a probability bet. Lean on a trusted peer to review your logical process. And finally, always let stop losses protect your capital from uncertainty. Master these steps, and I promise you, you master the psychological game of trading. I want to leave you with this final thought to carry into the markets tomorrow. On your very next trade, will you judge the process or the result? When you click close on that next position, will you actually have the discipline to grade the logic that got you there? Or will you just let a random, short-term financial result dictate your reality? The choice is completely yours. Keep learning, stay disciplined, and use these tools to conquer the uncertainty.